What's it take to start and run your own business? That's a giant question, and it's one that has a ton of different answers to it. But you know what? It's really interesting finding out different people's journeys and paths to getting to the job or the career that they've always dreamed of. And today we're going to talk to Natalie Lugo of San Francisco, California, and get her take on her entrepreneurial journey to a job that she really, really loves. So let's dive right into it. Where are you from? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about you and your business and where you are in the world.
Okay. I'm Natalie Lugo. I'm from San Francisco, California, born and raised. And right now I have a business as an online service provider. Some people call it virtual assistant. And I work with mindset coaches and purpose-driven entrepreneurs, primarily helping them to kind of streamline and automate their business.
Awesome. So, what's your story that led you into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think I felt the pull towards entrepreneurship for a long time, but didn't really know what it was and didn't really think I was qualified because I had a degree in politics, not business, and my career background was in teaching and education, which I had pursued primarily because I really, really enjoyed traveling. I went and taught English abroad, and then I taught English online. But because it was something that I wasn't really passionate about, it started to feel really monotonous. And then my grandmother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and my mother was back in California. I was in Thailand at this time, and I knew she was her sole care provider. So I knew I was really over my job, and I knew I really wanted to be location independent, so I could travel if I wanted, but I could also go home and be with family when I needed and wanted to. And I looked up everything that you could do online, from blogging to data entry to online stores, and I came across virtual assisting, and that was something that I just really got that feeling, that spark, where I was like, okay, I think this is for me. So I started researching various courses and whatnot, and someone actually recommended a coach to me, and it was also another one of those kind of serendipitous things where we were connected and it just felt really right, and I just kind of dove in and started working with her and launched my business.
That's awesome. It's funny how I really resonate with that. It felt serendipitous and it felt right. Like that gut feeling. It's weird when you have those moments and you're like, "Oh yeah, I need to listen to this intuition and go." Like that is
Totally.
really
Totally.
cool.
I think like feeling like that intuition part, like when people say, oh, you just, when it's right, you know it's right. And there's definitely like a lot of truth to that.
100%. If that voice is loud, listen, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So you jumped into virtual assisting with a coach, and how long have you been in business, and like what was that process of like, all right, I'm doing this thing to okay, we're going,
Yeah.
Tell me that.
I mean, I'd kind of tried to do it on my own at first for a little bit, and I was taking on little projects for like friends and people I met through various online communities. But I felt kind of lost and like I needed some direction, and so that's when I started looking into courses and came across coaching. Yeah, I mean, I did online teaching because I could work remotely, but there was like you were very limited in terms of growth with online teaching. Also, I think because it wasn't something that I was super passionate about, I didn't want to go into like curriculum planning or anything like that, and I was just, there was definitely kind of like a limit to where I could go as an online teacher, as a teacher online. And one of the things that really drew me to virtual assisting was that it was just so diverse in terms of niches and specializations and directions that you could go in. Not only that, but I could find people and businesses that I felt really aligned with and excited about, and those were the people that I could choose to work with. So I really, really loved that I had that kind of agency and say into what I was doing and the direction that my business was going. And also just that potential for growth was limitless. Like whatever I put into it was what I was going to get out of it. And that was really, really exciting to me.
It's like having the power of your future. It's the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
feeling ever.
definitely. And I think I always kind of looked at work and jobs through a very narrow lens. Like you're either a doctor or an accountant, and you start at the bottom and work your way up. And that is just not the case at all with entrepreneurship. And that also really excited me.
So what got you your first clients? Like if you were going to give someone advice that's starting out or brand new to entrepreneurship, they're in their first year of business, like if you were to give advice to say, hey, this is how you get started, this is how you get your foot in the door, what would you say?
Probably two things, like confidence and being honest with yourself. So looking at what you're really capable of doing, and knowing that you're capable of doing that, and then being honest with people and saying, I really want to do this. I have the capability of doing this, this, and this. I maybe haven't done exactly what you're looking for, but I know I can do it. This is what I've done that's similar. I think so often people hold themselves back because they just don't have that confidence. Even if it's something that they are good at and they're able to do, they're kind of scared to put themselves out there. And at some point, you got to start somewhere. So you just got to put yourself out there and do it.
100%. So let's be honest, it's not an easy road. I mean, I don't know about you, but I work more now than I ever did at a job. It's a hard road. So I feel like you have to have a why, like a
Mhm.
big why that anchors you into keep going. So
Yeah.
what is your why? Why do you do this?
My why is I really love being around people who are dreamers and who have big ideas. I really love that energy. I think that's why I work a lot with coaches and entrepreneurs. I love hearing people's crazy dreams and telling them that, hey, that's not so crazy. Like we can actually break that down and make that happen. And yeah, I really enjoy people who have some kind of passions, people kind of like you, Jamie, who are just relentless in pursuit of accomplishing what they want to do, and then accomplishing the next thing, and growing. And that kind of energy, I feel like I need to be around myself to grow, and I just find invigorating, and that's when I'm my happiest, I feel like. So that's kind of why I do what I do.
Love it. I absolutely love it. So what are the primary services that you offer in your business? Like if someone completely cold doesn't know who you are, what can you do for them?
Yeah, so like I said, I streamline and automate processes to kind of optimize how people run their business online. But my job entails a lot of support and problem solving. So I'm kind of a Jill of all trades. I'll do anything from email sequencing, course building, email management, content strategy and creation, customer service, client management. So kind of coming into someone's business and helping them kind of take a big picture look at it, to see what I can do to help them stay in their zone of genius, and also just make sure that everything is running smoothly behind the scenes. So for example, I had a client I worked on a project with, and she was using a bunch of different softwares and programs, one for emails, one for landing pages, all these different things, juggling different subscriptions. And I had worked with another client with a program called Kartra, which I realized we could put everything in one place for this other client. So I helped her migrate everything from Active Campaign and lead pages and all these other programs into this one place, Kartra. And now we're working on building out a course through there as well.
Do you help people simplify things and essentially get time back?
Exactly.
Yeah, right? Because it is overwhelming. And especially when you're specialized, you have this, you're amazing at this thing, right? And you want to put it out in the world, but the tech and the back end and the automation is like learning curve.
Yeah. And I think a lot of like creatives struggle with that part too, which that's something that I really can just trip out on, and spreadsheets, and I can stare at my computer forever, like for me, it's easy for me, and so, it works well.
That's awesome. I absolutely love it. So I would also like to know, what is the biggest mistake you've made as a business owner? Because we all fail forward, and that you would like to put out to this audience and let these new entrepreneurs know, hey, avoid this pitfall.
Yeah, definitely. I think what we were talking about earlier was not trusting my gut, or kind of trying to navigate between intuition and like fear and self-doubt. That was really, really tough for me at first. I think, just really trusting yourself to know what's best for you. When I first started my business, I felt really out of my element because I didn't know a lot about business. And so I felt like my instincts were wrong. And I really had to fight that, because ultimately your business is yours. And if you want to be happy and successful, you got to work on your terms and acknowledge that what works for one person isn't going to work for you. So that's where having a coach really came in handy, because I was like, oh, well, I read that I should be doing this, and this other person did this, this, and this, and now they're there. And she would remind me, like, that's not your journey. Does that feel right for you? And I was like, well, no, it doesn't. And because it wasn't. I think really just learning to trust your gut and go with intuition, which can be tough.
Yeah, it's absolutely tough, but it's like, it's great to have the reminder. I mean, I still fight this.
Yeah,
now,
same.
Yeah, it's just, you gotta keep going forward and trusting what that voice that's also loud on the other side, right?
Definitely.
I love it. So what advice would you give yourself in the past? And would it be the same advice, or is there something you wish you would have known that you didn't know when you started?
I think it's kind of similar, just knowing that your journey is unique. So don't compare yourself to other people. Be really careful about thoughts like, this is where I should be right now, or this is what I should be doing. Because, like I said, business is different for everybody, and we all start in different places and under different circumstances. And also remember that there are going to be highs and lows to your business. And the lows are never as severe as you feel they are. This is something that I still struggle with, but when things don't go as I hope or as I planned, or you don't get the results that you hope for, sometimes that could be really devastating because you put so much of yourself into it. But don't let it devastate you to the point where you don't move forward, which I almost did a few times. And like I said, luckily I had a coach that was like, well, the only way you're going to work through this is if you keep moving forward. And so, yeah.
It's excellent. So I get a couple questions really often, and I would love to know how you would answer this if someone reached out to you. Okay. So one of the questions is, I love the idea of starting my own business. Like it sounds cool, but I really have no clue what to do. Like what should I even start with? What I don't know what I like. I know I'm in corporate. I don't love corporate. I want out of corporate. How did you start?
I mean, I think that's kind of the tough part is you just have to start. You just have to pick something and go with it. And a lot of it is going to be kind of trial and error. You know, you might try something and you really don't like it. And then that's kind of how I zoned in on what I do. I initially started doing a lot of content creation and strategy for people. And I realized if it wasn't like a client or a business that I was really excited about, that work was really, really tedious for me. And so I really enjoyed more of like the tech aspect for me because I could just go in there and do it and then I'm done. It wasn't like so much of a creative process for me. And also I think finding a mentor is a great way to kind of help get some guidance in direction because it can be overwhelming with all the different options and directions that you can go at first.
That's great advice. The other question I get all the time is time. How do you know what to focus on? I'm overwhelmed. I have so much to do. What do I do? How do I focus? CEO and focus. How do you keep your focus?
Well, for me, it's like I have my own business and then I have my clients. So I have one day a week that I focus on my own business. So I focus on content, on teaching myself skills, whatever various tasks I need to do to take care of my business. And then so for me, that's typically Mondays, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are kind of like my client days, and that's when I really focus on doing my work for them. And then Friday is kind of like my wrap-up day. So any loose ends that I have for either my own business or my clients. And I'm also big on using focus apps. I really like the Pomodoro method. So especially I feel like now we have access to so many like devices and whatnot, having a focus app on my phone, which actually blocks out all the other apps. If I pick up my phone and try to open Instagram, it like reroutes me back to the focus app. So having stuff like that, just really knowing kind of what you struggle with time management and looking for techniques to work with that.
I love that. In fact, I would love to get that app link from you.
Yeah.
And we'll just drop it in the description of this video because I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's called Forest, and every like 25-minute cycle you make it through, you grow a little tree. So at the end of the day, you have like a little forest. It's cute.
I love it. That's great. I also like how you batch up your week. That's a really great way to structure your week and then keep Friday as that loose ends because loose ends happen to all of us, right?
Definitely. And I think batching whatever you can when you can is helpful because just the way your brain works, being able to focus on one thing at a time rather than trying to do 10 different things and reprogram every time you start a new task. So
awesome. So if people want to connect with you and learn more about your business or get in touch to do some work, how can they find you?
Yeah, I am on Instagram, Radiantly Remote Services. I am also on Facebook, Nat Lugo, NatLugo. There's a picture of me with bright pink hair. And yeah, or natlugo11 at gmail.com. And of course, I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much for talking to us today.
Yeah,
It was fantastic.
thanks so much for having me, Jamie. It's been a pleasure.
Have a great day.
You too.